what I was getting at with looking at the Bible and demons is, having seen demons, I think demons can be cast out. I think we are fighting evil constantly, malevolent forces. And I think they are populating people around the world forever.
Yeah, it's easy as a human to give over to the urge of the destructive, selfish urge.
Right.
Like killing and taking to consume is one thing, but causing pain because you get to watch someone suffer is like another level. That's malevolence, I guess. It's like, I want to rip the wings off the butterfly to watch it wiggle around in agonizing pain.
Right.
Like that's like, and when I'm like, wow, that's dark evil. Like that's
right.
really
Unit
bad.
731 was evil,
But they were doing research, so like,
but doesn't mean that's good research. Like
research.
That's evil research. I think.
But what if there's
plenty of it over here?
What if they end up saving 1 trillion lives because of the agonizing pain they caused 500 people?
I think it's pretty evil to get there through those wicked circumstances.
I've always got like evil and good as subjective. It's obviously causing agonizing pain for no purpose other than to watch the entity suffer in pain is like hard to justify as good. I don't think that's ever.
We
been
do live
good.
in a world where good things can come from bad, for
Yes.
sure, and it's an unfortunate part of life. But I think a lot of bad that's done purposefully is just evil. You know, like why does our government constantly experiment on us? They're not helping us. We haven't benefited from the Tuskegee experiments. We haven't benefited from the research we got from Unit 731. We haven't benefited from dosing all the people in Guatemala with syphilis.
Sometimes there is a benefit, like you said, evil things can produce good results, like or you said bad things can cause good. Like this Tuskegee experiment where they got infected dudes with syphilis, or like intentionally didn't treat these syphilis patients
for like
but
decades.
Told them they were. That maybe they learned about how the body. This is like the grotesque utilitarian argument that how they learned the body handles syphilis in the long term without treatment, so that they can figure out how to help and prevent people like that in the future. So that sure, 500 people had to suffer, but now we've saved thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that may have ignorantly suffered without us knowing why. That would be the argument. I don't know if anything good ever came out of that particular experiment.
I don't know. Another one that comes to mind where you could say a good thing coming out of a bad situation is the grave robbings. They used to call them resurrection men. Paul Revere's son or grandson was a grave robber, but it was for medical purposes because they wouldn't allow you to do autopsies. So they wanted to learn about anatomy. So they would break into graveyards at night, rip up these people, and study them. You know, and this was happening a ton. So, you know, obviously we learned a lot about the human anatomy, which helped a lot, clearly.
Probably saved a lot of people's lives
sure.
and reduced
sure.
suffering.
Obviously, unfortunately, good things have come out of war, but then a ton of obviously bad things. I don't think the wars were worth it, you know?
In economics, they call it opportunity cost. And
For sure.
Probably the age-old human conundrum is like, is it worth it?
Yeah, I would say starting wars that we shouldn't be in, and then the small benefits that come out of it were not worth it. It's like Neuralink. It's like going back to what I'm saying about Neuralink. I don't think the positives, as beautiful as they are worth the long-term consequences.
The jury's out for me
inevitable.
because we don't know what the long-term consequences are yet. If it means that like we can rally when there's like a flood in North Carolina, we within 6 days we've got 10,000 people all in the right spot with the right water, with the right rebuilding tools, and within like 6 months it's back to normal. Like, wow, that might be worth the 100 million people that got spied on and told not to say the dirty word. Maybe not, but like, you know,
I think as a
measurable outcomes.
Civilization, the problem is going to be using ethics, applying ethics to these technologies as we move forward. Because you just said something that I've been thinking about so much lately, because like the surveillance state, let's say, you know, and weaponizing AI against the people. And there's a lot of people involved in this Trump administration. I love Trump, but there's a lot of people in that administration who are so pro surveillance state, who have built it, that should be concerning.
Yeah, because
I don't think they have ethics.
Sometimes saving lives isn't a good enough outcome. Like if it's a bad system and the people are destructive and harming things, you don't want their lives to be saved.
Right.
Like, you don't want more bad people. You
No.
want more. You want less bad. I mean, this is the argument on its face. Some systems you want to stop because they're malfunctioning systems, so you need to turn them off, and that could be a type of human, unfortunately. But so the idea of like we need to save lives, we need to save lives. It's sometimes you need to propagate that type of life.
We heard a lot of that during COVID.
It was at what cost? Like what are you saving? What are you propelling forward?
We don't know. They were saying you're going to save all these lives. You don't know what you're going to save. It hasn't happened.
It's a horrible argument to think that like saving life isn't always the only right outcome, but like sometimes the cost is too great, and sometimes it's the wrong kind of reason to move.
Which
It's
I
just
think
an
we're
argument.
just not thinking of legacy anymore, of outside of yourself. A lot of the stuff we talk about today is about saving yourself right now in the material world. And the material world is your identity, whether it's in this very world or in the digital age, right? I think we're too locked in that. And we have to think about the children, the future, outside of yourself, and be okay with, with not sacrificing yourself literally, although you might have to one day, but sacrificing your idea of like, this isn't about me. This is about creating a hopefully better future.
It's like an argument of quality versus quantity.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you don't
exactly.
always want quantity.
I don't.
Like if it's bad quality, you don't want more of it.
Right.
Like, so sometimes you need less people that are better than more people that are
And then the problem is you're never going to get rid of bad ideas. You might get rid of, you fight a war, you think you get rid of the bad guy. Those bad ideas will forever be around.
Yeah, and they're always going to be relative to the current ideas. There's
Right.
always going to be, no matter what the state of consciousness is, a better version and a worse version of that state.
Right. And then people hijacking those things too. They can hijack good ideas. Like I was saying earlier with politicians using religion for their own agenda. They hijack something that's front-facing good, and then they use it against us.
Yeah, the fucking Catholic Church. No, I'm just kidding.
Seamus just
Where's
flew in.
Seamus
He just
Cashman?
jumped out of a plane with a parachute.
I'm not saying they did, but it's concerned me that governments of the ages will seize control of the religious narrative for power, and whoever they were, the Holy Roman Empire. Why were they Roman? What does the Roman Empire have to do with being holy?
I still have a huge issue with organized religion and what it can do. I love going to my little churches. I love reading my Bible. But there's anything organizational, any institution, I'm just immediately distrustful of. So I still apply that skepticism to the organs, the overall organs and stuff. But for me, I feel as if I've plugged into a deeper truth that I needed.
What I like with the Bible, with the New Testament, I've read, what is it, Matthew, I think is the first.
I think it's Matthew. I think it starts with Matthew, the New Testament.
Is Jesus. Like talking about Jesus and like visualizing that guy doing his thing, talking on the Sermon on the Mountain, and like that I like. Because you seem pretty cool. Like a base Jew from the beginning. Like the ultimate Jew. Like this dude, not only was he was very critical of religion, which is what made him. This is why I think it's important to be critical of Christianity. Jesus was critical of Judaism. He came out and was like
that. He was flipping tables.
Yeah,
He'd go in and say, "This is ridiculous."
Like, this 6,000-year-old religion has a lot of great stuff in it, but it's got a lot wrong. And these are what I think should be changed. And I'm saying the same thing about Christianity. I'm not saying but like we should all be critical, like Jesus was of religion, including Christianity. He would have wanted the same thing. I don't think he wanted a worship team telling him how great he was. He wanted real people to be doing good. And sometimes that means, tell me if I'm doing wrong. I'm not perfect.
Well, he definitely wanted you to worship him, but he was definitely, I'm still a baby at all this, but he simplified the ways of the Old Testament, all the slaughterings, all the sacrifices, all the weird, rules in like Leviticus or Deuteronomy. It was all simplified down to just, you're saved through Christ.
He was pretty pissed off at some of the Pharisees, some of the wise men, the teachers of Judaism. He would say they'd become corrupt also. Right. So the establishment basically had co-opted the religion.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we should replicate that with Christianity. I think it's good to be discerning.
Yeah, it's just like I was saying, these religions all experience their schisms. Their schism, and they just fractured into so many different things. Not even the people who read the same book can agree on its interpretations. Because there's lots of people who think it's hyperbole in the book. There's a lot of people who think they can interpret it to fit their modern sensibilities, and I don't think that's right.
When you say the book, I'm like...
I like saying it like that.
But
I like saying
you're
that.
the
my favorite
critic.
book.
You're the one who's
It's my
like
favorite book.
CNN's bullshit.
It's the only book. It's the only book you need.
The book.
It's the only
It's like-
the capital B book.
Yeah, they call it the Bible
Dude,
in
it's the
all
sickest
capital,
book.
but
It's
like
the
Bible
sickest.
just means
It's the greatest book. You should just read.
it's a pretty good book. I've read portions of it.
It's so good. Everything you need is in there.
Should we
With
take
the-
callers?
Yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah, we
let me
should.
let me just talk another hour on the book. No,
Let's talk about the book.
For another
Episode on
time.
the book itself.